everyone. Hi. Yay, good. Well, I know you have listened to many talks today, but I'm going to start with asking you a question. How many of you in here would like to run your own business? Raise a hand. There's a few of you. The truth is, in one way, you will all run your own business. Because running a business and managing your life has so many similarities. You are in charge, and you have to take charge of your life. I have run my own business for the last 20 years. First, a collective of bars, Boda Bars, here in Edinburgh, and now my own consultancy business. And today I will share with you 5 of the things that I have learned. And I hope you can apply it to your life, and I even more hope that you can apply it to your future business. So lesson number 1, purpose. To give you a bit of background, 2003, I arrived here in Edinburgh with my then boyfriend, Mike. We came from Stockholm, Sweden, and thought we were going to stay for 1 year. We're still here because we fell in love with Edinburgh and all the people here. Mike got a job at Trespass, and I got the task to set up our first business, which was wine importing. And I can admit I love wine. However, the business purpose wasn't one that really excited me. It took 6 months of lots and lots of phone calls, and then we got the first deals. And we managed to sell to Costco, the big American chain. We got 10,000 pounds together, and that became the starting capital for our next venture. And we decided we wanted to open our own wine bar. At that time, on Leith Walk, there were 26 pubs. And some people might say, or call them, old man boozers. I certainly didn't feel welcome or comfortable walking in there in any of them on my own. So Mike and I, we saw a gap in the market. And the timing was perfect. Because lots of people moved in from Edinburgh to Leith because it was cheaper to live in Leith. All these young professionals, and they were all looking for a place to go. And here comes the business purpose. The purpose was not only to sell as much wine and beer as you possibly could, but also to create a space where a woman could walk in on her own, have a glass of wine or a coffee, and completely feel at ease. The purpose was also to create such a lovely ambience that anyone could come in and start chatting to each other. Really a homely, a friendly vibe so that strangers became friends. I loved this purpose. Creating meeting places was my passion. Still is my passion. And it wasn't only that it excited me, it excited the whole team. Our bar team was fantastic. They were so welcoming. And this is what the customers wanted. But also, it was what the neighborhood really needed. We became like community bars. In your life, certainly in my life, sometimes the hardest thing is to find your purpose. Something that you're really passionate about, that you really feel, this is what I get excited about. What wants you to jump out of bed in the morning, and what makes you feel useful, not just for yourself, but for others. So, have you found your purpose yet? Lesson number 2. I have hired, recruited, employed over 950 people. And when you set up your business, this is, and every business owner will agree with this, the hardest thing is to find the right people to bring with you on that journey. And to surround yourself with people with different competences that you can learn from. I usually say, when I'm sitting down for an interview, I'm saying, I'm building a jigsaw puzzle. And I need you to fit in, but you also need to like to be in this jigsaw puzzle. You need to like me as an employer. You need to like our business. It takes both pieces to fit. And then that piece has to fit the other pieces. And you know yourself, you all have done a jigsaw puzzle. You know when a piece doesn't fit. Don't try to squeeze that piece in, because it won't work. Hire slow, fire fast. And if in doubt, don't hire at all. It might sound harsh, but it's a good rule for everyone. My favorite recruit was Kara. I rehired Kara 5 times. No, I never fired her, not a single time. But she left to go out traveling, then she came back. Then she left to go to another job, and she always came back with new knowledge, new experience, and she was like a reshaped puzzle piece that just slotted in, because she had the same purpose, she had the same attitude and the same values. And I really learned you should always try to hire people that one day will be better than yourself. I also tell you about a regret I have regarding people. I should have had a board, a business board, a board of directors or non-executive directors that challenged me and questioned my own decisions, and should have asked me to review my business, sometimes take a step back, take bird's eye view, and look down at that puzzle. I definitely would have a board next time I'm setting up business. Actually, I do. Lesson number 3. Can anyone see what this is? Yeah? You say it. A potato. Yes. This is a potato, but it also symbolizes my first ever business lesson. When I was 9, I had my first lesson in communication. Where I grew up was on the countryside, and my dad is a farmer. Every autumn, he was harvesting potatoes, and I got to pick up the leftover potatoes after the machine. So I picked them up, bagged them, stood by the country road, and sold them. First year, I created this big, beautiful sign saying, freshly picked, new, delicious, King Edward potatoes. No one stopped. Every car just zoomed past. I could see them even smiling at me, but no one stopped. So my dad came by, took one look at that sign, turned it over, wrote, potatoes. I had spent all that time making a beautiful sign that no one could read, right? So my first lesson in communication was keep the message clear, and then repeat, repeat, repeat. You might be bored with potatoes. I certainly was very bored with potatoes. but the customer saw it for the first time. And today, when we are in a world of information overload, we are constantly being sold to, it's even more important. So every time you do a social media post, or you do a poster, or you're trying to sell something, remember, the customer has to be able to know what it is that you're selling. Otherwise, they can't buy. My dad is a very smart man. Lesson number 4. Does any of you like notebooks? Do you scribble things? Do you write notes? Yeah? I love notebooks. I recently moved, and I found 40 notebooks in my attic. And among them, I found the book I had 2004 when we opened our first bar. It was so detailed. It was basically the book How You Open a Bar. It had every single thing in there. I had a budget that was so detailed that I had candle holders, 50p each max. I was not allowed to spend any more. I had the whole negotiation with the landlord, word by word, written down. And this is how I work, and how I've always worked through every project I've done. Plan, do, review. So I start with the planning. Ask yourself, why are you doing this project? Is this time spent well? And what am I doing? Then the do part. And I would say action is the most important characteristics for an entrepreneur, because you have to get things done. You have to get it done with a lot of energy, a lot of effort, and you have to get it done on time, because time is of essence. Then comes the review part. And the review is important. I usually like to skip that, because I like to skip to the next project straight away and yeah, that's done, let's get over with it. But the review part, I've learned, is where you really learn from your successes, but you also learn from your mistakes. So really ask yourself, what went well? And why did it go well? It might just have been circumstances that made this project go well. One time, I didn't follow this. So Mike and I, we opened 8 bars. 7 were successful, 1 wasn't. I had not followed my own rule. I had jumped straight to doing instead of planning. I thought, oh my God, I can do this blindfolded by now. Let's just crack on with it and just get on with it and just open this bar. And no, I didn't have the time. It wasn't my time spent wisely. But you learn. You learn from your mistakes. And if you're a doer, if you're a person that, constantly doing things, you will make mistakes. Otherwise, you won't do anything, right? You won't make any mistakes. But you learn from them. And now we come to my hardest learned lesson. Money, financial health. When COVID hit, we had 7 bars, 120 employees, over 6 million in sales, but also 300,000 pounds in costs every month. On the 20th of March 2020, when we had to close the bars, I felt like I was living in a nightmare. I knew it was going to be a much longer period than the 2 weeks that Boris Johnson had said. didn't really trust that. And I also knew that we didn't have enough cash in the bank. So what we needed to do was to take some really, really tough decisions. I went down into detail, looked at every single cost for every business, and we also negotiated with all the landlords. Can we get a reduced rent since we're not having any income? The ones that we couldn't, we either sold off those bars or handed back the keys. It was heartbreaking seeing your business that you'd taken 18 years to build up. But I'm proud that I took those decisions, because it meant that in spring 2021, even though we only had 2 bars left, we had cash in the bank and we had survived. Money can't buy you happiness, but it can give you sanity. And I know a lot of people talking about mental health. Very few talk about financial health. But financial health is so important for your mental state. So my lesson here is that in life and in business, try to keep 6 months worth of your monthly outgoings as a buffer. Try to keep that as a saving. Because this gives you the chance to make the necessary changes. If it is cutting costs, if it is to get another income, if it is to get another job. But it also gives you freedom and options. You might say, I want to set up another business, or I want to go to Australia and take a job. That buffer gives you freedom and options. So in spring 2021, we had 2 bars left, and we had survived. And now since end of 2021, I decided to set up my own business, a new business. So I now have a consultancy business, and I also invested in a couple of new startups. And I'm putting everything I learned into good use for others. Helping with financial health and project management and recruiting. And I'm working with all these amazing people. And I would recommend all of you, and I hope that one time in your life, you will set up your own business. Because it's fun. It's very rare that it's boring. It's very challenging. And you are in charge. So go out, all of you, find your purpose, surround yourself with the right people, learn from your mistakes, and own your life. Because your life is your business. Thanks for having me.